I constantly scratched my brains in search for stories from my journey that would impact us all or to if shared with the world. And I wondered, should I borrow from the script of positivity that constantly downplays the challenges I had to face in becoming a woman, or should I instead focus on the reality on the ground of the challenges I face as an African woman and the chains at the soles of my feet that are constantly crushing my progress and undermining the milestones that I make in spite of being? See, it was hard for me to find an equilibrium between the two stories because in my journey as an African woman, these cannot be exhausted by a single story when one good deed perfectly complements what is considered a bad story. So this here is the story of a progressive African woman full of twists and turns, ups and downs, spirals and bumps, in the never-ending roller coaster of a quest for a voice and an identity and a face in a society that denies me of those privileges. In my attempt to understand where the highlights and the low moments were in my journey, I'm remembered of the fight for my voice. See, I was born with a very loud mouth in a society that tapes women's mouths. But this struggle to fight for my voice is what gave me an identity and a position in the society. Then comes the transition from a child sheltered from the wrath and anger of the world to an adult, a confused graduate with no connections to getting employment. And this is where I faced sexual requests for sexual favors in turn for a place in the workplace. And let's not talk about the cases of sexual harassment for simply being a woman in that work field. But let me not focus on too much negativity in my story because then it dilutes the whole essence of my message and of my journey. But let's talk about a few positive moments where taking control of my life helped me to make the little life decisions that made me the woman I am today, or how civilization saved me from the claws of gender-based violence and female genital mutilation. But again, when I talk of too much positivity in my story then makes you feel like I am privileged. I had to find a balance between the two. And so today, from my story, I want you to learn that in my journey, I was the author and scripter and editor of my parts. I refused to be defined as a slightly lesser being. I refused for people or man to give me approval on what I can and cannot do with my life. But instead, I decided that I am my own woman first. And this is what I intend to give back to. And when I give back to it, I will take full responsibility for my own woman first. And this is what I intend to give back to. And when I give back to it, I will take full responsibility for the mistakes and mishaps that come along the way. Because at the end of the day, those tiny mishaps are what helps me to build a better version of myself day in and day out. And so from my story today, what you learn, and from my journey, what you learn is that we as women need to understand that we are our own people first, and we need to accept that we are powerful in our own voices. And the good and bad and the mistakes that we make along the way are what shapes us into being who we are. We cannot allow ourselves, or rather, I did not allow myself to be oppressed by regimes that defined me as a lesser being. No, I squeezed that thought away and those ideologies away from my brain. And I focused instead on the fact that what a man can do, a woman can do better. And from living examples of a lot of women and following in their footsteps, I was able to achieve everything I dreamed of in spite of the challenges. So what I want you to know from my journey as a woman and from one woman to another woman is that there is no easy or simple way or easy or straight path for a woman. No, you have to hustle through it all. So let out that fierce chi in you. Let out the Sasha fierce in you, and let out the freedom fighter that is gnawing and roaring to get out and fight for you as a woman, so that at the end of the day, you can leave the world a better place for women who are coming in after us. In conclusion, what you learn from my journey is that there are two stories to a coin. Your history is not what will define you, but rather how you respond to that history and those challenges into becoming a better person is what will shape you. Thank you.